Welcome to News with a View, a Fat Cat production. My name is John Acosta. Middle initial to say. This is June 15th, 2025, not January 15th. And January, what I've been saying since June, I don't know. My grandfather would say again, I'm a little stunad. This is episode 79. Can you imagine that? We're going to have a celebration on 80 tomorrow. So, it's been a busy day. I'm going to do this, cut right over to this one. A lot in the news, a lot of it's just rehashing of news. We'll talk about No Kings, which I did not talk about yesterday, or Trump's birthday, or the parade, or anything, because it really isn't anything, it wasn't anything spectacular to me. All right. But of course, the Israeli war, we're going to talk about. Then an interesting settlement, and it was a voluntary settlement, made with a billionaire, and some other little tidbits. It's going to be a relatively, typical 45 minutes to 1 hour show. And now I'll go to my favorite camera, right there. I'm not even going to talk about the Israeli-Iranian war, which is a war. This is not a conflict. It is a war. I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. The No Kings Day. WTF is that? It's the Democrats who can't think of anything else that they can do. So they say, No Kings Day. Well, we had no king since July 4th, 1776. Nothing has changed. Nothing. And yet this is what the Democrats go to. You want to know why you're going to lose in 2026? All this shenanigans you're doing. All this wasted time and wasted effort. And the reason you go to that is because you have no game plan. The stock market's almost back to where it was. Prices are stabilizing to a degree. There are certain things that are definitely going to be whacked with current situations. But basically, we're doing great. President Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. But the Democrats seize on these little tangent things that have no meaning to anything. Like I said, it might as well have been No Martians Day. And you don't realize it, fellas. You honestly don't. Again, you're drinking your own Kool-Aid. Why aren't you trying to convert? You already have these people marching in the street. They're already yours. What is the purpose of doing what you're doing? What did it accomplish? What does it do for you? And I'll tell you what it does for you. It takes moderate Democrats who did vote Democrat to go, you know what? I just can't, I can't do this. I just can't continue on this path. You've already seen that in the youth vote. You've already seen this in the black vote. You've already seen this in the Hispanic vote. What are you accomplishing by having this rhetoric? No kings, no kings, no king. No shit. 1776, we said, you're out of here. And nothing has changed since then. You want to talk about a waste of time? This is exactly what you're doing. You're hoping to stay relevant? I don't know what you people think and who is running the show there. You have AOC and David Hogg now going, we're going to push the old people out. We don't want to have the oldsters. You know, you guys always run to the oldsters. Well, the Democrats and the Republicans have always gone towards the experience. They don't like, none of these parties like breaking new ground. They'll go back, but they're not going to break new ground. It's too risky. Now, for the Democrats who have lost everything, they better get bold. This is not bold. This is foolish. No kings. It is such a silly thing to try to put up there and think you're going to get moderate or even fringe Republicans to go, yeah, you know what? No kings. What are you thinking? What in the world are the Democrats thinking? And again, it's showing you're being led by the progressives, by radicals. You haven't learned a thing. Your defeat in 2024, you haven't learned a blessed thing. I don't get it with you guys. You just are not making sense. It's not a bright move. It's not even a good look. It really isn't. And you're having mayors of city coming out and saying, hey, you know, you're not going to riot in our town. You're not going to burn it down. You're not doing that. We're not doing it. It's not going to be another summer of love. That is over and never, ever going to happen again. You had police chiefs saying, you step in front of someone's car trying to block them and they run you over. That's what you get. You try to hurt a police officer, we're going to shoot you dead. You spit on us, we're going to arrest you for assault. Now, I'd say the majority of these people that go out there are peaceful and respectful. But you know darn well in your political party that there are people who want to agitate and cause mayhem. You know it. And yet you sit back and do nothing to stop it because you, in essence, approve it. You can't do anything else but that. To hope to cause an incident that is so earth-shattering that you now have your Alamo. That you could go, remember this, redo this. I don't get it. I don't see the point of it. And I keep saying to Democrats, the only way you will be able to move forward in the next 4 to 8 years is by getting on Trump's bandwagon. I don't agree with everything the president does. I don't agree with any president 100%. I also did not disagree with every president 100%. And I've said it before, I do not lock in step. I look at common sense. And common sense will rule the day here. So you guys better get your act together. Because you could say, no one went to Trump's birthday parade. No one cared. His birthday fell on the same day as the Army's foundation. And if his birthday was July 4th, would you say we can't celebrate July 4th? And to say, I don't care if one person showed up for the parade. It's inconsequential. It doesn't mean anything. If 50 million people showed up for it, it doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. It's a parade. Do people think that hinges on something? It doesn't. It's meaningless. Trump won. And he's changing things. And I know change can be scary for you people, mostly when most of you are trying to cover your own tracks. That's why Doge was so fearful. Not only for Democrats, but for a lot of Republicans too. You think blue states were the only ones getting money? That money was being shuffled all over the place. And we might not ever know to what extent. Because I think if people knew, they'd go, the whole lot of you. You know, one bad apple, you're right, that ruins the barrel. So you know what? Get rid of the barrel. Let's go to the tree and pick some new ones. And if they turn out to be rotten, we'll get rid of them too. So, that little rant, as Bob from New York would call it, is over. Not forgotten. And I'll bring it up again. All right. The Israeli-Iran war. And as I said before, it is a war. This is not a conflict. They're blasting each other's cities. And it will get worse. Iran has already come out and said, if you stop shooting at us, we'll stop shooting at you. You know what? That ain't going to work. Because all you'll do, Iran, is you'll send it to Yemen. You'll send it to someone else. And Israel now knows the only way to stop all this is by cutting the head. And you're not Hydra. You cut off one, two more come back. You're not Hydra. President Trump stopped the Ayatollah from being taken out, decapitated, as they call it. Because he knows that once that you cross that line, there is no coming back from it. Military people are always a target. In a conflict, in a war, military. Bombing the populace works in slowing down the war production, to a certain point. Because they'll just keep the people working in the factories, and if they get blown up, they get blown up. Well, if the factory goes, then what the hell do I need the people for? And the idea that the people will rise up above, the government, like I said, didn't work in Germany, didn't work in Japan, didn't work in Vietnam. It worked to an extent in the Korean War, where we bombed every building into the ground. But even that, bombing the populace, that is to try to corrupt and bring down the military. You'll demoralize the military, the civilian leaders. But that's only in a real democracy. Does that work? Basically, they don't care, the leadership. So the war is intensifying. Israel Saturday struck now oil producing targets. Haven't really taken out a lot of big main ones. And the problem with now Iran is they could shoot off 200 missiles tomorrow. That's 200 less. They ain't going to build any more. And whatever their inventory is, who knows what has been destroyed or what is being targeted tomorrow. Mossad is so deeply entrenched in Iran that the Iranian government doesn't know who they could trust. Who in the leadership in the military can they trust? Israel is going to go over there and just blast away. And Iran knows this. They're trying to buy time. Let's talk. We can come to a solution. You had your chance. You were warned. And then on top of that, like I said, the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission or Committee, has reported that they're finding stuff, or they found stuff that is very, very cynical of Iran's truthfulness. They're not being truthful. Now, with the truth, you could say that they had never looked at Israel's nuclear sites. They're military nuclear sites. Israel still is not part of the nuclear club because they've never admitted having one. And they're estimated to have 30, 40, 60 atomic weapons, maybe more. So I can understand the argument of, well, you're looking at me. You ever look at them? But here's the difference between the two of them. Israel has not come out on paper and said, we're going to destroy every Arab. We're going to kill every Muslim that's in the Middle East. We're going to wipe these countries out. What has Iran been saying? Death to Israel. We will destroy them. We'll destroy the Zionists. And they're saying, no, not the Jews, the Zionists. To them, every Jew is a Zionist. So, in one hand, they're not lying, but on the other hand, everyone's painted the same color. They can't be trusted. The people in charge there can't be trusted. So if you can't trust them, you're not making any deal with them. I think it was other than maybe Trump stalling for time and trying to make a deal, which he knew if they didn't follow the first rules, why would they follow the second rules? They're not going to do it. And in that time, they can rebuild. This took them back at least 5 years. Militarily. Not nuclear. You can't unlearn. But you can make it difficult. But look at North Korea. How difficult was it for them? We put sanction after sanction after sanction after sanction, and they're still building rockets and getting help from China and getting help from Russia and other nations. So you're not going to stop this. And a regime change in there, you might change some of it, but it's really, if the people really took over that, want peace and, hey, we want a religion, we want peace, we want this, we're going to live with our neighbors. Look at Syria. Said, hey, we want peace with all of them. And what about Israel? They're our neighbor. We want peace with them, with everyone. Now, how long that lasts for? Again, with these regimes that are over there, they come and they go. And the same can be said about American politics. You have a Republican, you have a Democrat, you have an agenda. Every 4 years, we go through a revolution. That's the way our democracy works. It is the way our republic was founded. Iran fired 70, as reported, 70 missiles at Israel, and not all of them were intercepted, of course, because I would say that between Israel, the United States, Great Britain, and France. We're intercepting a lot of those missiles. Israel could not do it alone. If I would say that probably Israel's could only take out 20 or 30% of those if it wasn't for the United States and Britain and France. Italy, too, is over there. Stepping up and using their assets to intercept the Iranian missiles. Now, no one is stopping the Israeli missiles. No one's stopping them. So when, we say we're not involved directly, we are directly involved. And we will stay directly involved. I think the president made it very clear. Damage in Israel is shocking to a lot of people. They've never experienced that type of ferocity, even from, rockets coming in from Gaza. I mean, they were nothing more than, honestly, glorified pipe bombs coming over. And those pipe bombs killed a lot of people, too. But this damage is a lot more extensive. And if 70% of the missiles were stopped, that means 60 out of the 200 made it through. London burned during World War II under the V2 and buzz bombs. A few bombs can do a lot of damage. Yemen, the Houthis did fire a rocket or two at Israel, and they were intercepted. The Israeli Air Force also launched a mission that blew up a Iranian air tanker that was like 1,400 miles away. It's the longest strike that Israel has ever made. And that was at Mashhad Airport in northeast Iran. So it's the most distant attack that they've done so far during this war. And it was either an old KC like 707 or Iran only had one 747 refueler that they bring fuel around. That thing's gone now. They got no way to refuel their Air Force in air. So, not that they were doing a lot of it, but I'm sure they were capable of doing it. You haven't heard much word on whether their Air Force went up and went toe-to-toe, nose-to-nose with Israel. I would think that they would not. That has not happened. They're using their own air defense systems to do most of their fighting. Remember, air superiority. Once you rule the skies, ruling the ground is the next thing that happens. But you can't take the ground unless you take the air. You haven't heard much of the Iranian naval assets, but I am sure that each one of them are lit up on a radar screen and waiting for someone just to say, fire. And Iran knows that. President Trump has warned them, do not strike American targets or allies. It will be a very, very bad day for you. And I think at that point he would go, yeah, take whoever you need to take out. And he'll do it. And they know it. They know it. And it puts them in a very hard place. Now, President Trump is in Canada at the G7 conference, and all the leaders there are huddling together asking the president, urge him to keep the U.S. out of the conflict directly and to influence Israel and broker a ceasefire. No. No. That's not going to happen. You want to broker a ceasefire? This is what Iran has to agree to immediately. And no questions, no paperwork, no nothing. We put inspectors on the ground there to look at their nuclear sites, their centrifuges, their plutonium. And we get to test it. And I guarantee you that Israel will put troops on the ground there. And they will take certain sites at great cost and prove to the world that Iran has been lying and this is a threat to all of the Middle East. And that no one else could stop them, or no one else would stop them but Israel. And Saudi Arabia, a lot of these other countries are more than happy for Israel to spill blood to bring down the Iranian government. And they keep their hands clean of it. So the war will intensify, and it will intensify quickly. Iran might be able to shoot 10 or 20 missiles per day if they start weaning their inventory and Israel doesn't take them out. And then once those are gone, they got nothing. While we resupply through our back channels Israel with everything they need. Britain, France will give Israel whatever they need. Up to a point. The proxy nations will have nothing. Their military people will not be paid. The money will run out. And then what? Then what happens to these countries that were being propped up? We don't need Iranian oil. The world doesn't need Iranian oil. That fear will jitter the markets to a level. But I guarantee you that before Iran falls, they will target Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Republic, we might go down, but I'm going to hurt you. You wait and see. You wait and see. If this continues, the last dying breath of of Iran will be to punish the other nations that stood by and watched it happen. That's what they'll say. So, Saudi Arabia is very worried about that, and all these other oil-producing states. Because remember something, when push comes to shove, we don't need their oil. We like their oil, but we'll just open fields up and we'll pump. We'll have plenty of oil. It won't come cheap, but you're not going to have lines like we had in the 70s or 80s. That's not going to happen. So, your fear of using oil as a weapon, be gone with you. All right. I had mentioned in my opening about a settlement. Byron Allen. Who is Byron Allen? Allen Media Group. It's a black-owned network. Had sued McDonald's Corporation for $10 billion over TV advertising, saying that McDonald's budgeted differently for black station advertising than they did for non-black. So they would, let's just say, will CBS, ABC, NBC, and blah, 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 we'll give you $1 million per week to advertise for us. And Allen Media Group, who had a network of stations, we'll give you $100,000 per week to advertise for us. And they said that's discriminatory. And they sued. And the suit was going to go to trial in like 2 weeks. And McDonald's settled with them. Now, I don't know if what McDonald did was illegal or violated any laws, because I don't have to advertise on CBS. I could just give all my advertising to ABC or NBC, or vice versa, or to the Allen Group. I don't have to divvy it up equally. And I can even say, I don't care if you have 10 million more eyeballs than that group has. I'll give them the $1 million. I'll only pay you $100,000. And the Allen Group could turn around and go, hey, we don't want your advertising. Okay. Have a good one. And the Allen Media Group alleged that McDonald's habit of buying ad time on media outlets that targeted black viewer was discriminatory because those purchases were made from a budget set aside from what the complainant described as the African American tier of outlets. Well, that's how you advertise. You find your market group, the eyeballs you want your advertising to go to get them in your door. And McDonald's was very successful with that, where they did market research and they applied it towards those eyeballs. And whether it was marketed towards black people or white people or people that had disposable income that could go to McDonald's, I don't see where they can get off saying that it was black. Now, they could have been inside inside McDonald's, a group that said, where your group only gets $20 million a year to advertise, and your group demographic gets $80 million a year. And you could have tier groups in there, because the African population, and I go African, they're not African. It's a bullshit term. The black population makes up about, 13%, if that? So why would you give that 13% $80 million and give the other 65% for white $80 million to look at the same? I need more commercials towards the 80 millions than I do the 11, the 65% than I do the 11 or 12%. That's just the way the advertising dollars go. I know I can only get X amount of dollars out of those 11%. As such, the advertising is going to follow that. I know I'm not going to get 100% of it. Just like I'm not going to get 100% of the non-black, non-African members of our society to go into McDonald's. And the analysts would argue that the practice was damaging to black media owners because the tier had more limited dollars available than the general tier that the company used for reaching broad-based audiences on the largest networks and platforms. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. More non-black people watch TV than African Americans. So who do you think is going to get the money, and there's going to be more of, on an ABC, NBC, CBS, that does cater and have a black audience? I won't say cater. That's the wrong term to use. But they will try to attract certain viewers and certain elements. ABC, blackish, right? You go all the way, let's go back to Good Times. That had about 80% white market share. So I think it was probably just cheaper for McDonald's in the long run to come up with a settlement. I don't know what the settlement is, and there was nothing mentioned as what the terms to that settlement was. But I call that suit, and this is me, just me. I don't know, I thought that was extortion. Now, could McDonald's been embarrassed by it? Yes, I'm sure they would be. Since if you look on just about any of the McDonald's ads, it focuses on the black community. Mickey D's. It was never called Mickey D's before until they started inserting black characters and actors and actresses into their commercials. And they said, hey, people go McDonald's, but if we call it Mickey D's, that's their little thing. And they were very successful on it. Very, very successful. So, McDonald's knuckled under to Byron Allen, who said they were cheated out of dollars. And honestly, if I was McDonald's, I'd go, here's your settlement. We're never advertising on any of their... We don't have to advertise on their network. We don't have to advertise with who. We're not forced to go to a certain advertiser. CBS, ABC, NBC all has a standard and practices. If a commercial was in there that was not aligned to the criteria of that particular network to say that this is what is permissible and this is not, they'd turn that commercial away. They'd go, listen, yeah, we'd love to take your money, but we're not putting that commercial up there. So just advertise more on those other networks. That's all. Do you think... I still don't understand why Coca-Cola advertises. Or McDonald's or Burger King or any of them. They are such an institutionalized household name. You go down the street and you go, oh, I saw a McDonald's commercial, I'm going to stop. No, it's McDonald's, I'm going to stop there. Burger King, I'm going to stop there. It's convenient. I heard on the radio, $5 meal. They got it plastered on the windows. $5 meal. Oh, I got a double cheeseburger, a Coke, fries, and 4 nuggets for $5. Hey, I'm shoveling that down my gullet for $5. So I don't know why they advertise. They don't need to advertise. They're past the point of needing advertising to any great extent. How many Hardy commercials do you see anymore? We have Hardee's down here. I could hardly see a commercial. Yet they're in business. I see Burger King commercial. I see Burger King's closing down near me. I've seen Popeyes. closed locations here. So, advertising is one thing. Marketing to a certain group doesn't need to be on an all-black network. And they were advertising there just that we're not paying you the same rate. So, you could accept it or not accept it. And saying that's not discriminatory, that's business practice. And I don't even have to come to you. You could come to me and say, hey, listen, I know you're paying $1 million over there, but for $250,000, look at the eyeballs that I can hit for you. And McDonald's might turn around and go, yeah, no, we understand that. But we look at the eyeballs that they can reach, and it's the same eyeballs. You think they're just keeping it on BET or whatever? They're flipping around those channels. They're watching NCIS. They're watching other shows. So we'll grab their eyeballs there. Thank you. But if you want our commercials to play on your station, we're only going to pay $100,000, per week. Take it, leave it. Take it or leave it. I just think that was a foolish thing for McDonald's to do. And it wasn't Byron Allen saying, I'm doing, they're keeping this away from the black community. This wasn't about that. This was about money. I'm not getting my fair share. What fair share do you deserve? If any. Goes against common sense business practices. All right. The other big news, and again with Democrats, I'm hitting you guys because you're making the news. For all the wrong reasons. California Democrat Padilla handcuffed and taken down when he pushed his way through a platform where Department of Homeland Security Gnomes was giving a speech. He wanted to ask her questions about ICE. And he pushed his way through the crowd to try to get to the platform. And Secret Service took him down, handcuffed him, and dragged him off, even though he was screaming, I'm from California. I'm a representative. You get people that say anything they want. Guy just shot 2 people saying he was a police officer. So, handcuffing him and taking him away until they could figure out who this guy was that was pushing his way, screaming up to a platform where our head of our Homeland Security is, yeah, you're going to be knocked down, taking you. I think they handled you pretty well. Idiot. And then to have, look, another one, Trump's arresting us. No, stop being stupid. Stop being stupid. At a speech, unless it was a question and answer type of thing, it's a speech. You have your chance to go to the network or station and go, give me some time to counter what she said, or I got questions. Go through the proper channels. Don't race up to a platform like a maniac And then, they stopped me. Moron. And this again is what's wrong with the Democrats. You have nothing but screaming and ranting and just being unhinged. And you guys make no sense. And people are just saying, you're hey, I'm not listening to you, you're crazy. And that is what's going on in America. I think that the time is coming very quickly where you guys are going to be called on the carpet yet again in 2026. And you're all going to go, well, what happened? How could this happen? The American voters are stupid, uneducated, racist, monogamous, not monogamous, monogamy, you're against women. Misogynistic. But how about you make sense? How about you go back to normal thinking ideas? And I said after you lost, you needed guys to take a breath. You needed to just pull back and not say anything. And sit there and look at what you did and go, that didn't work. So why would you do it again? Why would you use the same playbook that failed? And the GOP is just going to eat you up. Eat you up. And they're going to say, people are going to say, well, all right, I don't like that guy, but I can't agree with what this guy just said. So I'm going to go to the guy, I'm going to hold my nose, I'm going to vote for that person. And this guy who's throwing himself around and doing everything, they're not going to get the vote. And even more important than the vote for the Democrats or any politician or political group is the money. You think big corporations are going to give you what they gave for Joe Biden, then you came back after they gave you for Biden and go, well, now it's Harris. We need more money. Dig deeper. And you think they're going to do that again? I don't think so. And they're going to have to deal with a GOP frontrunner who, as of today, would be Vance. Never know what happens tomorrow. But as of today, and I think Vance is another brilliant speaker. Very articulate. Again, when you have lawyers like you had Clinton and Obama, who are trained to get their point across in 3 sentences. That's the attention span. It's 3 sentences. Because after that, just here, that's it. Those 3 sentences, You must get your point across or you're not going to make your point. And Bill Clinton was very good at it. Obama was fantastic at it. Trump is good at it for about 15 minutes. If I was the Trump people, there's no controlling Donald Trump. But if I was there and able to control him, you have a 15-minute window. That's it. Shut it down. And stick to it. Because he gets in trouble. He goes off on tangents, like me. But I don't have to answer to anyone. He does. And the Democrats go off on tangents. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They're making no sense. Now, could there be a situation where, because like I said, the voters only remember about 3 months worth of stuff. And that's always right before the election. So either you have the election won by September, or you're fighting down to the wire. And I think come 2026, I think, deep blue states will be deep blue. But California was red once. New York was red once. And it could happen again. I think there's a very good likelihood that the next governor of New York will be a Republican. I don't think Newsom will finish his term. I'm sure he's going to be facing federal charges. And I'm going to say that as smart as that guy is, and he's a smart man, and well polished, I think Trump has the goods on him. And he's not going to get a free walk like Mayor Adams did. Which, I still question that. And like I said, right is right, wrong is wrong. And I will question it. And I will bring it up. And I will ask, well, why didn't you follow through on Adams? Why didn't you do this? Why aren't you going after the mayor of Chicago? The mayor of Philadelphia? The mayor of Trenton, which we are going to go after. And all these inner city mayors, where money's coming in the front door and never going to where it's supposed to go. Lucy, you have lots of explaining to do. And I think that time is coming. And remember, Trump's only been in office less than 6 months. And look at what he's done. And you think he's going to slow down? Nope. Nope. All right, I'm going to finish this up because after 9 p.m. I won't get this out till about 11:30 tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be plenty of news. I'm interested to see what the stock market's going to do tomorrow. I kind of figure gold's going to go through the roof, probably touch $4,000. I think gold will go. And I'm not giving financial advice here. I'm not a financial expert, nor do I want to take a look at my books. You'll figure that out real quick. But oil will go up. Mostly if things really get bad and they decide to take out Karg Island, which we're probably telling Israel, yeah, please don't touch that facility, because when we topple and you topple Iran, the people are still going to have something to sell. And if you take that oil facility out and transfer, because it's just really a big transfer station there, that will really be a bad day. Not only environmentally, but who's going to repair that? You're going to have to get foreign companies in there to do it, and it's just going to be a mess. So leave that alone. Leave Karg Island alone. You want to take out a couple of oil fields, have at it. And you want to take out some of their natural gas, which they have the biggest in the world. Yeah, becomes a fair target. But remember, they got things that they could shoot at too. But I think Israel is on the right side of the situation. I think Israel had every right to go after Iran. And enough is enough with these people. And I'll take you on your word that you are going to kill me if I allow you to. I'm not going to allow you to. So if I have my way, I'll take you out first. Then I don't have to worry about you coming back and killing me. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Say a prayer. Give to a charity. You know my thing. You reach out to that charity. Do not let them come to you. Don't become a victim helping victims. Charity begins at home. Give to a food bank. Wouldn't it be wonderful, like I said, if 500 people that didn't give to a food bank showed up at food banks with just 4 cans, SpaghettiOs, noodles, beans, whatever. That would be 2,000 cans that they didn't have going out there. So, say a prayer. Danielle, Paul, Christopher, Rowan, Cannoli. I spoke to Christopher today. Next Sunday, we'll be starting, and I said this last week, we'll be starting a live about 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. show. 15 or 20 minutes on what's going on in South Carolina in between Horry County and Georgetown counties. Some local news. What's going on with our representatives. And crime. I'm big on crime. You know, you get old, you read the police reports, and you're like, But in our area, we do have crime. It's like any area. All right. So with that, I'm going to say God bless, say a prayer, as I attempt to fade to black.